All right, now let us say hello to one of the most talked about men in sports today. Why? Because he is returning to action this Saturday on pay-per-view in a fight that everyone's been talking about for the last few months. He is the one and only, the inimitable, the often imitated, never duplicated. He is Kid Dynamite. He is the baddest man on the planet. He is the one and
Oh,
only
Ariel, you running it
Tyson.
down, huh? Thank
Yes.
you, thank you,
Mike, what an
thank
honor
you.
this is. And here we are just a few days before your highly anticipated return against Roy Jones on Saturday at the Staples Center. I have to ask you this, Mike, right off the bat. You know, your last fight was 15 years ago. It was over 15 years. It's been over 15 years since you were last on a Mike Tyson fight week, right?
Yes.
Approaching what is going through your body? What is going through your mind as you're approaching weigh-ins, fight night? You haven't
Hey,
been in this spot for 15 years.
I noticed the difference. It's a difference. I noticed the energy is totally different. You can't ignore it. Subconsciously, you can't ignore it. It's just to be dealt with.
What is it? Could you describe that energy? Like what's the difference?
I don't know. It's the equivalent to both being serene and quiet, and but still lit up like a Christmas tree.
Did you miss that feeling?
I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But
Right
it's
now, are
really,
you enjoying it?
but I'm vibing with it pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. You know, throughout the past 15 months, or excuse me, years, as you've talked about your career, at times you've said you didn't like the old Mike, right? You didn't want to romanticize the old.
Well, that was all about making me happy, and the pretty girl and the Rolls Royce and the new house that didn't make me happy anymore. So I said I can do this and I can help people. We can open up grassroots charities and we could do things to improve humanity.
So I'm wondering, do you like this version of Mike Tyson?
Big time, 100%, because it's not all about Mike. Before it was all about me and my feelings, and it had to be me. And sometimes the party's cool without you.
Hmm.
When you have to learn, I truly work on liberating myself from myself.
When you left the ring that night against Kevin McBride over 15 years ago, if I would have told you that in over a decade you would fight again, would you have believed me?
Not in a million years, no.
Who was that guy back then?
I don't know. He needed to find himself. He was lost.
And so, how did you find yourself, Mike?
As I tell everybody, life just beat me up. I was beaten into submission by life. I didn't find God and become humble. I just lost the fight big time.
In my opinion, you're one of the great success stories of the past decade or so, because it did seem, and correct me if you feel otherwise, it felt like you were going down a path of being, that broken down fighter who had so much money and was left with no money. Now here you are, a businessman. You've got this Legends Only League. You're coming back, all this stuff. Is there a person who is responsible for the turnaround? Is there someone, something that happened that
Listen,
helped you turn into this?
I know this sounds so cliche. Just that me and my wife, we just decided that beside being in love with, we have a professional relationship. We have a relationship with enterprise, and we enjoy our lives, and we won't have. And I'm listening to her, and I'm strung out on drugs. Or I'm listening to her. I'm saying sure, 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 and everything she said came to prospect. We're dealing with great corporations. We have great enterprise, and doing this is just this is extra. This wasn't even on like you said, it wasn't on the radar. This is extra.
Do you remember when you came up with the idea that you were going to do this year?
Um, I was looking at this show and it was about Jerry Rice, and it was about he was a what? He was four something. I guess he was a five something. So just because I guess he's a couple of seconds slower, he can't play football no more. And I thought that was ridiculous. Because I know now that we live in the era of Instagram, there's more people on Instagram would like to see him play than the person that plays his position now in the San Francisco 49ers, I believe, or the last team he played wide receiver on. And it's all about numbers now. It's all about what the people want to see. You think these people want to stop seeing him just because he's 2 or 3 seconds slower? No. Mm. So now he doesn't have any kind of outlet for his entanglement also. Now he can't do anything because he's a few seconds slower. So I said, that's ridiculous. We're going to get involved with this league, Legends Only League, and everybody's going to have a chance to participate.
And it's interesting. Speaking of Instagram, you kind of came out of the darkness at the very beginning of this pandemic, right? We're all starving for sports. We're nostalgic. This Michael Jordan documentary is airing on ESPN, and here's Mike Tyson, one of the most known figures in the history of sports, coming out and hitting pads and looking the way you do, and the internet exploded. Were you surprised by the reaction to even like an 8-second clip? That thing was passed around and viewed by millions of people.
Hey, listen, 2.5 billion impressions can't be lying. Okay. So I said this is something that would be really awesome. How many people could benefit from this? And I imagine somebody else, imagine if other people do this. If they say, what Mike's doing, I want to do it too. And they do it from a charity perspective. And it's not giving much of your time either. It's really not giving much. It's just all about cooperating. So of course, we're going to fight and we're going to be throwing hard punches, but it's all about the bigger picture, so to speak.
Sure. And we'll get to that in a second, but I'm just curious, when you initially put out that first clip, was it already set in your mind that you were going to come back, or did you want to see the way the people would react to it?
I never thought, no, I wanted to see the way the people react to it. Subconsciously, yes, that's really, I probably wouldn't admit it, but yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to hear.
And were you blown away by the reaction?
Just really humbled.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.